Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and I hope you've had a really good week, productive week. Welcome to the weekend, and yeah, happy new week, happy new month ahead actually. Yeah, happy new month. I hope this month is productive for you, that you get to achieve the things you want to achieve, and you're staying well, staying healthy, and just taking it easy, right? So on this channel we talk about everything to do with the African diaspora, politics, music, life, love, and everything in between. I'm based here in London. I'm Caribbean, so a lot of what I say is gonna be coming from that particular worldview. You understand? So no worries. Hopefully you can keep up with me. Anyway, I'm sure you can, right? So yeah, so anyway, today I want to talk about why Buhari continues to disappoint us. I also want to talk about ENDSARS and why I think it ended too soon. And I also want to talk about women and the role of women in revolutionary movements and why they're often overlooked and understated. So let's get into it. So basically, recently I likened Buhari to, a man that's lost in a car. You're driving with him, he's driving, and he won't ask for directions. Anytime you suggest something, he's going to bark at you, or basically it's just his ego won't allow him to ask anyone like, where do I go? So you just end up driving and driving around and around and around for ages, right? So yeah, I liken Buhari to that character. And however, Buhari has asked for help. He set his ego aside and he did ask the US for help in terms of being able to support him in tackling insecurity across the country. Now, Nigeria is actually dealing with a number of insecurity challenges, and they are proving to be very increasingly difficult anyway. So, what Buhari suggested was that the US set up a military base in Nigeria to help them to tackle, insurgency and stuff like that. As far as I know, it was declined, so there's no help coming from the US or even from the UK, who, have reportedly said that the issues in Nigeria are incredibly complex. Of course, they're incredibly complex, right? They were there from the very beginning. They know exactly how complex it is. So, but I tell you what surprised me is the fact that Buhari is an ex-military general. So I'm surprised that he would think it's a good idea anyway to really ask the US to have, a military base in the country, because the moment you have another country's military base in your country, it puts you in a very vulnerable position, actually. And currently, uh, the US has about 29, I think, about 29 military bases across Africa. You have to ask yourself, why do they have 29 military bases across Africa? But they do. They have over 29, and it spans across over 15 countries, and those countries aren't that secure. There is insecurity in those countries, and often what you find is that whenever the US has a military base in especially a developing country or on the continent, let's be specific, right? There is increased insecurity. Often there is, destabilization of governments. So the fact that Buhari thought it was a good idea really does make me question, what Buhari is currently thinking. Is it that, he thinks that the enemy within is greater than the enemy outside? I'm just a bit confused with his kind of strategy right now. But anyway, he didn't get it, right? So no military base for you right now. And ultimately, Buhari got what he asked for, because I'm going to take you back to Buhari like last year. So last year now we had ENDSARS and mass protests across the country. So SARS basically stands for Special Anti-Robbery Squad. So they were set up to tackle robberies really, and like serious crime, serious offences. They were not set up to like harass people with dreads. They were not set up to harass people with tattoos, young people looking good or having mobile laptops and all that stuff. That's not what they were set up for. But anyway, it seemed to have crept into their itinerary, so to speak, and they started doing that. But what happened was they had basically, I think they actually shot the person and drove off in his car, but the whole thing was filmed, and yeah, it went viral. The footage went viral. And then by the 8th, you had mass protests across the country. So you had protests even like internationally. So here in the UK, you had the ENDSARS protests. You had them in America, in the US, you had it in Canada. So you had this global, global movement going on, hashtag ENDSARS. And it was a beautiful thing, to be honest. I never thought I'd see the day that, the Nigerian people would actually stand up and start to fight for their rights. But they were standing up. So you kind of felt like real pride for them, and everyone was really kind of supporting them, right? So anyway, we had these amazing scenes of like candlelight vigils, and you know what the African night sky is like, right? It's so beautiful. It's just black, and then if you got these little candlelights, they're like little stars. So we all got caught up in that, like got a bit, romantic. It was just like, it was very moving, right? Let's put it like that. Anyway, fast forward now, after these beautiful, candlelight protests and after all that now, let's fast forward to the 20th at Lekki Tollgate. So you had the protesters there, they all converged at the toll gate, singing their little songs, listening to their music, sitting down. It was more of a sit-down protest, really, waving their flag, waving the Nigerian flag, and singing the national anthem. And the government's response was to actually unleash the army and shoot them. So that was the outrage, right? Remember the Lekki Tollgate shootings? Yeah. So that's what happened. The army came out. We all saw the footage. They started shooting into the crowds. A few days later, they said the army weren't even there. So I don't know what we were looking at then. But, that was the state of play. It was a really terrible thing. A couple of days later, Buhari comes out and he tells the entire international community to mind their own business. That's what I meant when I said Buhari actually got what he asked for. Last year, Buhari told the international community, a community responsible for over $23 billion worth of remittances coming in every year, coming into Nigeria. And Buhari told the people, told the international community that he begs for loans from to mind their own business. So fast forward a year later, he's now asking them to not mind their own business anymore. Come and set up your base, come and help us. You see the irony in that? That's why I tell you something, whoever his advisor is, seriously, is not the best advisor in the world. You understand? I think he must know that by now, and if he doesn't, well, I don't know when he will. Bad advice is only going to beget bad advice, right? Bad outcomes, so to speak. So anyway, here's what I want to say about the role of women in like these protests. So basically, what kind of helped the ENDSARS protests to work was a group of about 10 women, and they were known as the Feminist Coalition. So they raised, like in a matter of days, over $290,000, right? This is to support the protesters. This is to pay for refreshments, security, legal aid, the whole nine. They really did a phenomenal job. And it was after the Feminist Coalition pulled out after the shooting, because they didn't want to put anyone's life at risk, that the whole thing just came to a screeching halt. Now you tell me, right? Women did that. Now, these are women that quite often in Nigeria, in countries similar to that, but we'll focus on Nigeria just for the sake of it for now. Women are often looked down upon, like they're often treated in a kind of substandard, kind of subordinate way. You understand, they're spoken to and looked upon as if they're just either property or children. Women do play into it. I'm going to be fair. Women do, because they have a tendency to speak to men in this babyish way, like just very childlike. They become very infantile, and I don't think that helps at all. Maybe they notice, maybe I don't know why they do it. I think they do it so they don't seem like a threat or anything. But that baby talk, I think, there's a time and a place for that, right? But when you babying all the time, of course it's going to treat you like an absolute, just nothing, like, right? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this, and another example, I guess, is the fact that Like, even you have a really like well-known politician stroke activist. Her name is Natasha. I think it's Akpolti. I don't remember fully what her surname is. Anyway, she wanted to run for like a governorship position, some kind of, you know, she wanted to get involved in politics during, you know, the election times. And she was often asked, you know, where is your husband? And she was advised to go get a husband quick, right? Get a husband quick, otherwise no one's going to take you seriously. That's what I'm talking about. The fact that often women aren't taken seriously unless they've got a husband, or, you know, some kind of covering. They see the husband as the covering. And yeah, they're treated, if they don't have that, they're like nothing, nobody's, right? But yeah, a group of 10 women were able to raise $290,000, support an entire protest that went absolutely global, will go down in the history of Nigeria as one of the biggest mass movements ever. And it was women who did that. So, you know, isn't it time that we start to see the true value of women and the asset that women can bring to protests and just bring to development in general? You know, there's a saying that a nation cannot rise any higher than its women. So if you want to know how far Nigeria can go as a nation, it's not a nation, but if you want to know how far any country can go, look at the state of the women, and look at how the women are presenting and are looked after, and look at what their contribution is. That will give you an indication as to whether it's going to be a success or an out and out failure. All right, peace.